Hello, HSPs. How you all doing? I'm going live again to just answer some of your questions today that you've been asking, and I try to go through them and answer some of them along the way. So if you're here, let me know you're here in the comments, where you're from. Click like if you're listening. So I'm going to read a couple of questions. I have a whole list of questions you guys have been asking me, but I'll just get to a couple today. To kind of give you a little sense of a little bit more information. So Kern wrote, are we born with this trait or something that happened in our childhood that triggered the nervousness or fears? Well, actually, yes, you are born with this trait. This is an innate trait. And it makes up about 20% of the population has this trait. Most people have more than one person in their family, and once they start learning about the trait, they kind of start recognizing it in other people that they know. So it's equal amongst genders, and about 70% of us are introverted, but 30% are extroverted, so it's not the same thing as introversion. But it's got some overlap because a lot of us are. So if you think about 20% of the population, that's 1.4 billion people out there with this trait. So there's a lot of us with this trait. We have real brain differences that make us experience the world that we do. Does contribute to overwhelm. A lot of times that's the word that constantly comes up when I'm talking to HSPs. And somebody says, what are the defining characteristics of the trait? I actually just wrote a blog post about this, and I really hope you guys are subscribed to it, because every week I send out information, education about the trait, tips and support, information that you need to know as an HSP that's really helpful for you. And that's, if you can go to that website, hspblog.com, and you even get a free guide when you sign up that teaches you a technique that helps with overwhelm. So I really encourage you guys to subscribe and join us. Don't miss out, because I'm personally writing this blog every week for you guys. And some of the defining characteristics are, Elaine Aaron has come up with an acronym DOES, D-O-E-S, and that describes that all HSPs have this. D stands for depth of processing. O is for overstimulation. E is for emotional responsiveness, and S is for sensing the subtle. So these are characteristics that we all have as HSPs. And then there's a 27 questionnaire also that Elaine Aaron has, and I have a link to that on my resources page as well on my website. And in that, I actually answer true to all 27 questions, which means I'm at the highest level. And it's interesting because most people that come to work with me or join my 8-week brain training program, we're all up there in the high numbers of the high 20s. And what I found is that people that have HSPs that are in those high numbers, we definitely have an extra set of challenges. And I think that's probably why people are drawn to me who are way up there, because I know what it's like to live up there. And I used to have tons of anxiety and overwhelm and have a hard time getting through the day and getting everything done. And I had to do my own form of brain training to help me manage all of that. So if you want to take the test, it's fun, and put it into, you put your number in the comments, and I'm going to come back even in the replay and talk to you guys. So if you have comments along the way or questions for me, you can put that in the comments, and I'm going to come back to it also. It's just so you know. So hi, Rebecca. Nice to see you here. We're getting some people popping on. Click like if you guys are here listening, and let me know where you're from. I love talking with you guys. I just finished a class with my 8-week program, and it's so beautiful to me to work with a group of HSPs. I just love it. And we're working on all kinds of things. How do we reduce overwhelm? You know, it's just this constant feeling of being on that, I call it the hamster wheel of life. You just keep going, and you feel like, you know, there's so much to get done, and you don't have the energy for it because overwhelm is exhausting. So I hear the words overwhelm, I hear exhaustion, I hear depletion, I hear it's hard to set boundaries, how to say no, career stuff. These are all things that we work on in my program, and I love it. We were just talking about all this stuff today, and I love supporting HSPs to learn how to preserve your energy. I've been talking about almost like a point system. So if you imagine that you have 50 points for the day, and that's your energy level. Where are those points going to go? And are you dumping them out in places or with people that maybe you could stop doing that and preserve some of that energy? It's important to really think about it. If you're not sleeping well, you're probably not even waking up with 50 points of energy. So sleep is really important for an HSP. It is so incredibly important. We're recommending 8 to 9 hours a day in bed, 2 hours a day of alone time. That's for brain processing, rest, and restoration. 1 full day off a week. And when I say time alone, I'm really recommending that you have that space for your silence, for your brain processing. If you have kids, you're going to want to talk to them about that's your special time, and that the door will be closed and locked. I recommend that because I know a lot of people try to do this with the door open and then people just coming in and out, and then you're not getting your actual internal silent time. If you have super high anxiety, I found that it's really difficult for people to go from this high motor of high anxiety to just being still. I think you can get there, but sometimes it takes a little effort in other ways. Like maybe you want to do some activities while you're being quiet, like drawing or art or taking a walk in nature. Things like that, where you're actually having sort of an activity, but you're still having it be quiet for you. Ultimately, I'd like to see you be able to do meditation and be really quiet for extended periods of time. And meditation doesn't mean that you can completely drain your brain of like no thoughts whatsoever. The benefit to meditation for HSPs particularly is that every time you notice a thought come and take over your mind, you actually, the process of you pulling back that thought to focus back on your breathing or the meditation program you're listening to, that movement from catching that and bringing it back, that's a muscle that you're strengthening in your brain, and that's going to really help you with reaction, with being able to pull back a bit when you get really too involved emotionally or too reactive about something. That muscle in training and meditation is actually going to help you do that. So hopefully this is helpful. Is this helping you guys? You can also post some questions that you have for me in the comments, and I'll see if I can answer them either now or come back and answer them. Rebecca, you're 27, just like me. Yes. So you get it. You understand how hard, I mean, it is really challenging to be a 27, to be up there. And, but it also comes with it a lot of gifts. There are really, like I have observed that the higher your number on the scale, the more challenged you are, but also the more gifts you have and the more you have to offer the world. And my whole concept of my brain training program is now I do coaching with it. So I think that is a really important piece of it, where I'm actually working with the HSPs every week, and we just have such a good time together, and the support that we feel is incredible. And I'm able to really give each person direction. And I love that, because one person might be working on, they're getting a new job and they want to work on the overwhelm. Another one's moving and needs some guidance about how do you prioritize things. And I give tips and information along the way to making the changes that we need to be our best, because I certainly would not be doing what I'm doing as a 27 if I hadn't done my own work. And really, a lot of the process is kind of coming up to that highest level of self-care. Like, we can't take care of ourselves the way that 80% take care of themselves. We need to take care of ourselves the way that 20% does. And if your numbers are high like that, like Rebecca and I, then you need even more time. So you definitely need more self-care as you go. So let me read some of your comments here. Is it normal for HSPs to feel ill or for their health issues to flare if we are off our sleep routine are off of our schedule, routine, or didn't get enough sleep? Absolutely. That's a great question. Definitely. It's so fascinating because the more that we take care of ourselves, getting that downtime, allowing for the brain processing time, getting the restoration, you're going to notice that your sensitivities decrease, like the intensity of them. You're going to notice that your emotionality gets a little bit more on track. You're going to also notice pain levels reduce, and health issues. Like a lot of HSPs have a lot of chronic health issues, and that has a lot to do with the fact that you're releasing stress hormones every single day. If you're noticing like your heart is racing a lot, like when you get anxious or nervous about stuff, your brain has sent a signal to release adrenaline and stress hormones into your body to prep you because it believes you're in danger. So it's prepping you to run or fight. And that's not good to have happen every day. I used to have that happen every day, and I remember I was a pretty big mess. I suffered from migraines and stomach issues and other kind of chronic conditions, and all of that is better now that I've learned how to take care of myself in the ways that I need it. So yes, sleep is a huge priority for HSPs. You really want to try to get a minimum of 8 hours of sleep and be in bed for even 9 hours if you can do that, to try to give yourself extra rest time. I cannot stress that enough. We don't do well with less than that. And you offer a lot of gifts into the world. So even though you got to take care of yourself in these different kinds of ways, maybe you got to take more downtime than people around you, or sleep more than people around you, or rest more. That's okay, because you offer a lot to the world. I mean, if you're a parent, you're offering a wonderful thing to your children, being a sensitive parent. You're offering a lot to the world in your work. If you're working, I mean, it gets made up for when you're actually taking care of yourself. So that's really important. Hi, Denise. Love it. Rebecca, you love the points concept. Yeah, I love that too. I used to use kind of like, if I imagine a glass of water for the day, where's that energy going to dump out, right? We want to be clear about that. And the point idea just came to me the other day, where I thought that was a great concept to understand. It's like, if you have children, say you're working and you have children, when you get home and walk through that door after work, how many points do you have left? If you have barely any points left in your energy tank, you're going to have a hard time. Your kids, you're not going to have patience. Your irritation level is going to rise. You might be snappy with your kids. Your relationship might be suffering, or maybe you're not even in a relationship because of all of this. And I've even heard HSP say they feel like they can't have children because of the overwhelming. That actually makes me pretty sad, because it's possible. I have children, and it is possible to be way up there on the scale of sensitivity and still have a full life. I'm able to do that now, but I had to make changes in my life to accommodate all of that. Jackie says, I wanted to start working out and get healthy, but really struggle with all the energy lost with that activity. Any tips for HSPs in this area? Yeah, I think that you want to start out, if you're really having problems with energy, like an activity of exercise, start out slower. Build yourself up to it. You don't have to start jogging 5 miles all of a sudden. In fact, maybe pick something like walking in nature, if that's something that's possible for you weather-wise where you are. Walking in nature, taking a meandering hike through the woods and through the mountains is so amazing for an HSP. I really recommend that. And start slow, and do it as a form of self-love. Because if you're out there exercising because you're hard on yourself and you think, oh, I got to lose weight, I hate my body and all these things, that's not going to be very motivating. So you want to instead do it as a form of self-love. So if I'm out there exercising, I think about it in terms of, I'm taking care of myself. I'm treating myself with love by doing this. So I would suggest building up slowly until your body gets adjusted. And if you do it that way, you're actually going to feel that you get more energy from exercising. It's going to release all the feel-good kind of hormones that give you a boost of energy and make you feel good. Oh yeah, you had the same question. Okay, good. So and Rebecca says, I tend to gradually start an activity and then a few days later get sick from spending the energy and have to start all over again, wondering if it's an HSP thing or health issue. I'm not sure what you meant by starting an activity. Maybe you meant exercise. Again, you know, HSPs tend to be pretty, we get committed to stuff and we might go all in and, you know, everything we have into that. And so just give yourself compassion and patience and move slowly. So if you've been living a life depleted and exhausted and overwhelmed for a number of years, taking one day of 2 hours is not going to suddenly make everything better. You really need to be consistent with it. It's very similar to, I always talk about the brain training program that I do as is kind of like a personal trainer for your brain. And it's similar to, you know, if you were wanting to build up your biceps and you just, you know, lifted weights once in a while, it's not going to be that effective. So that 2 hours needs to happen every day, consistently. And by the time you do that after about a week of 2 hours every day, you're going to start to notice the difference that you actually have more energy, are more focused, and you're not going to have to go through that shame cycle that a lot of HSPs do. That, you know, where maybe we had a meltdown, or we were impatient with our kids, or we messed up on a project at work or something like that. Something went wrong, and then we get so hard on ourselves. But if we're living on the edge of exhaustion and depletion, then everything's going to be harder. And when you have energy, everything is easier. You also get your creative brain back when you take care of yourself in this ways. So I'm reading some more. Can you speak more about calming a reactionary brain? Yes, I actually, if you sign up for my blog, you're going to get a guide that teaches you a technique, a calming technique. And what happens with a lot of HSPs is that our emotional brain gets more activated than our cognitive brain. And when that happens, if it gets really activated, the cognitive brain actually goes to sleep. And so there's methods that we need to do that wake back that cognitive method, get that cognitive brain back online so it can support the emotional brain. Think about the difference between when you've been in a situation where you are completely overwhelmed, and you know, maybe you're having an argument with your partner or your kids, or something's happened, and you can actually tell that you're sort of going in circles and you're not making sense and everything seems wrong, and it feels like it's going to be like that forever, and you feel awful. How many have you felt that way? You know, most HSPs have felt that way, right? I want to hear from you from the comments if you felt that way. And if you're here listening, I'm going to come back and read comments as well. So if you have things that you want to say, please do in the comments, and I'm going to get back to you with it. Even in the replay, I'll come back and try to talk to you guys through these. So I want you to think about, so the reactionary brain is coming from the emotional brain being too activated, cognitive brain being asleep. So even breathing techniques can help that. So if you're breathing in really deeply and for a count of 4, holding it for a couple of seconds, and breathing out for a count of 7. So the exhale is very slow. If you do that about 5 to 7 breath cycles, you're actually going to tell your brain that you're okay. You're not in danger. You're not about to die. It doesn't have to prep you for that. And that you can start to change how the system is responding. And one of the things that's really successful that you can do is you can actually train your brain not to release the adrenaline and stress hormones in the first place. And that is so life-changing, because once you've released that adrenaline, your body has to process it. So if you feel your heart racing about something, that means your brain has sent a signal to release that adrenaline because it thinks you need it for fighting or fleeing. And so it's important to tell your brain that you don't need to, you're not about to die, that you're safe, that you're okay. Even saying things, calming techniques like, this feeling is temporary, I'm going to be okay. I actually recommend you start working on a self-compassion technique, and I actually posted that with a video in a couple blogs ago that you can check out my blog, hspblog.com, and read some of those and watch that video for self-compassion. That really helps take away the reaction from the emotional brain, because as soon as the cognitive brain is back online, it supports that emotional brain. And that's when, when you actually calm down after you've had a meltdown, it's like everything feels more clear. That's because your cognitive brain is back online. Let's see what else we got here. Yes, I'm very anxious about having children, pregnancy, and raising kids and managing everything, but I'm starting to feel a bit better with all your information and encouragement. Oh, that's so great, Rebecca. You know, you deserve to be a mom if that's what you want. That was something I really wanted in life, and I think you absolutely can. My brain training program is different than anything out there because it's created for HSPs. And now that I'm doing an actual coaching piece with it too, I get to work with you one-on-one and really make these changes. So you deserve that, you know, to have a full life, and you can have a full life, and the world needs you out there as an HSP thriving, because you guys are out there making the world a better place. You're the ones doing that, you know, because of all the compassion, and you're so kind. You have that. And, you know, you've probably heard me, if you've heard any of my other videos on my YouTube channel or anything like that, you've probably heard me talk a lot about that how much I believe that you're needed in the world. And I 100% believe that. And I know that HSPs who do this kind of training, whether it's through my books or through my program, or you're just doing it on your own with a good therapist or something, that you make a difference in the world, and you go out and make it better. You help people. It all comes from that compassion. And I know that with more HSPs thriving, we're really, you know, lifting each other up. I know it's such a neat thing to get a group of HSPs together, like in my class, because we talk about, you know, it's hard to be vulnerable. A lot of HSPs feel that way, but they start to feel so protected and held up, you know, and lifted up and supported, because a group of HSPs together do that for each other. And that's what's so beautiful. And I love that even about our HSP tribe we've got here together. And I recognize a lot of your guys' names and stuff that you've been making comments and being part of my community for quite a long time. At this point, we're way over at 8,000 followers and growing really fast. So it's really exciting to see HSPs coming here and joining our tribe. I just love it. Okay, what else have we got comments-wise? Jackie says, I have a toddler, and you are so right that Julie is so encouraging in this area for HSPs. Parenting is hard, but I find it so fulfilling. I have a great support system, and I unapologetically take time out like Julie suggests. Good for you, Jackie. See, that is an example of, and this happens every time. And now you have to remember, I have worked with thousands of HSPs globally, and I know what works. And when you actually take that time, every single HSP who takes that time comes back and shares with me how much better they feel. You know, it's such a holistic process. And you probably, for those of you who have been following my work, probably recognize that it's a very holistic process that I teach. And it kind of covers everything from our mindset to our feelings about ourselves, growing self-love, all of that stuff. Okay, what we have here, and somebody's responding to Jackie, said, I'm so glad you shared that you are having a good experience. I love to hear how you set up your support system. Yeah, I like that too. I love it. Oh, I just adore you guys, and I always find, you know, getting a chance to talk to other HSPs, spending time with you guys in the groups are such a special thing. I just started to open up the ability to talk to me. You can book a call. I'm putting that in the description, that you can book a call if you're interested in learning about my 8-week brain training program. It's really for the committed HSPs who are really wanting a change, who really want to make a change, who want to be in a different place 8 weeks from now. And it's possible, because it only takes about 3 weeks to grow a new neural sprout. And that neural sprout is part of what we use to redirect some of our past patterns and habits. So instead of going directly to, you know, limbic system brain, emotional brain overreaction, we can actually send signals to the brain that we're okay. These are things that you can train yourself to do. I had to do that because as a 27 out of 27, I used to be so overwhelmed that every day was just like, I was just trying to get through the day until I could be in my room by myself. And, you know, and that wasn't a very great way to live. And I definitely wasn't offering the world any of my gifts by having that kind of a life. And I think that's why I get so passionate about helping you guys, is because, I mean, it's amazing to get to witness and support HSPs in thriving, to move out of a place from struggle to thriving. It's just, it's absolutely the best thing that I could imagine to do. I'll answer another question. April asks, is it common to act in a defensive, cranky way when overstimulated? Yes, that definitely can happen, because overstimulation happens, just like I was saying, when the emotional brain gets too activated, cognitive brain goes to sleep. And that's when we get that overstimulation. And what's interesting is our sensitivity levels, like me as a 27, I used to have a hard time even going into a mall or a group of people when there was a lot of noise, or a restaurant that was crowded. And all of that gets easier when you actually are taking care of yourselves in the right ways. I talk so much about this in my books. I hope you guys have my books. If you don't have any of my books, I recommend the newest one, The Empowered Highly Sensitive Person. And you can also find that on my website. And I think that that's a really great one. I've been getting the most amazing emails from HSPs all over the world that, I mean, things like people have been telling me it's changed their lives, that it saved their lives. It's just beautiful. And what I'm hearing is HSP saying, I never felt heard before until I read this book. I never felt understood before. I talk a lot about empowerment and how to set boundaries and learn how to say no and protect your special energy, your special resource of energy. That's so incredibly important. Oh, Rebecca, you love my books. Yay, that's so great. I'd love to hear from you guys. And when you send me emails about what something I've done in my books and any of my work has impacted you, it really fills my heart up, and it means a lot. So thank you for all of you who have recommended books and my course and everything, and how you've been a part of the journey from the beginning. I love it. Yeah, I'm glad you finally discovered you're an HSP too. It's so important, and it fills in the blanks for understanding everything that you're experiencing in the world. And because you do have brain differences as an HSP, you need to learn what those brain differences are, because they are what are causing that overwhelm and overstimulation. And as soon as you learn about those and the techniques to support that part of your system, things get so much better. I mean, I have children. I'm in a relationship that I have time and space for. That's great. I have friends that I can have energy for. I get to work from home on most of my days. I've created a life that works for me, and it means I also get to help so many people. So I want that for you. So if anybody's interested in booking a call with me, love to talk with you. I'm looking to have people, HSPs, join who are committed and motivated to really change things, so that in the next 8 weeks, you will transform your life. So hopefully you guys are on the blog, hspblog.com. I'm putting that link in there. It was lovely spending time with you all. I hope this was helpful. If you guys found this helpful, please tell me in the comments. If you have questions for me, type them into the comments. I'll watch the replay. I will be posting the replay later. And it was really lovely to spend time with you guys. And I hope you are taking really good care of your beautiful HSP selves. We need you thriving in the world. The world needs you to be your best. So when you take that alone time and you take care of you, you're actually benefiting everybody around you by doing that, because it allows you to access your many gifts as an HSP. And I fully believe that. So take really good care of your beautiful selves, and we will talk again, hopefully. So if you're watching the replay, come on in. Oh, thanks. Rebecca says, you're so inspiring. I appreciate that. And I'm so glad that I can offer everybody this information to make your lives better. So take good care of yourselves, okay? I love hearing from you. So I'll come back and read the comments later. Bye-bye.